What's up everyone? Casual Paul, KP. Welcome back to my channel, guys. So today we're going to take a little step back from the EK K24 build, and we're going to work on my Volkswagen Bug. So I'm taking it back to my old school days. In high school, guys, I had a Volkswagen Bug that was slammed all the way, dropped all the way down to the floor. So I'm going to work on that a little bit. I'm going to pull out the front suspension. It's actually called a Beam. If you guys don't know about these old Volkswagen Beetles, it's called a front beam. I'm going to pull it out. We're going to narrow it 4 inches. That way my wheels will tuck, because we're going to put hydraulics on it. So I want to be able to have the wheels tuck in the fenders, drop all the way to the floor, lay on the frame. Basically, they don't have a frame, it's called a pan, but it's going to hit on that, and be able to lift it up with the hydraulics, guys. So let's get to the garage. I already took the beam off. I'm going to show you guys exactly what a beam is, and we'll go step by step from there. So meet me in the garage and we'll get there, guys. So here's the beam. It's all stripped down. I took everything off. There's nothing on it. Everything's over there. Trying to keep everything as organized as I can. Steering box right there. I gotta pick up some bolts and nuts on the ground and put those away. But anyway, we're going to narrow this 4 inches. So let me get my measuring tape here. What I'm gonna do is I don't know if you can see these holes right here and right here. I am going to measure 2 inches on this side, 2 inches on that side, and then 2 inches on this side, 2 inches on that side. So 2 inches on the left, 2 inches on the right. And then I'll cut it out, and that will be a total of 4 inches. Then we'll bring it together, weld it up, and start assembling it. Again, it seems easy, and it is, as long as you know exactly what you're doing. So right now, my next step is I'm gonna measure the 2 inches, and then the 2 inches here, and then the same thing on here. That way I can bring my saw and cut this out. And as soon as I do that, I will bring you guys back. I'll probably show you the saw, and we'll go from there. Okay, so when we were talking about the beam, I kind of felt like I was going too fast. But I'm not trying to show you how to disassemble the beam, okay? It's not that hard, okay? A couple bolts here, these 2 bolts here, and at the end, and with some lock nuts that it has on there, the shocks, and the beam comes apart. If you have hand tools and a hammer, some wrenches, you can figure out how to get it to this point, okay? You have to pull out your leaf springs or whatever they're called. You have to pull those out, okay? But to get to this point where it's bare and it's hollow on the inside, there's nothing in there, okay? Pretty simple. I don't think I need to show anybody. Somebody with basic knowledge and basic hand tools can sit here and figure out how to disassemble it, okay? To remove the steering box off right here, it's very simple. What I'm here to teach you guys is how to narrow the front beam, okay? Now I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this, because I'm narrowing mine a little different. It's the same process, but a little different, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm removing 2 inches on this side, 2 on this side, so a total of 4-inch narrow on top and bottom, okay? But if you guys are gonna lower your car, best time to put in some adjusters is right now. You put in some adjusters and you can adjust the height. This ain't a lowering video. There's plenty of videos on how to lower your VW Bug and how to install those adjusters. Go check them out. This is narrowing. Me, I'm not putting no adjusters at all. I'm taking 4 inches out, okay? 4 inches, bringing the beam together, reinforcing it, welding it. Why? That's gonna drop my car all the way to the floor. Because I'm gonna install some hydraulic cylinders in here, and I'm gonna use hydraulics to adjust my car, okay? So it's the same basic, it's the same concept, guys. It still works the same, except I'm removing this part. I'm not having no adjustments whatsoever. So my leaves ain't gonna bolt here no more. There's not gonna be nothing to hold them. They're gonna be free spinning basically on the inside and making the car drop all the way to the floor. So now that the car drops, I'll be able to adjust it with the hydraulic cylinders up and down, okay? But it's a basic concept, guys. Remember, watch videos on how to install adjusters for your beam. If you want to lower it, this is the time to do it, okay? I'm not lowering it. I'm lowering it, but I'm narrowing it. So I'm not going to use this. It's going to slam to the floor. I'm going to show you guys how to do this, and you guys will learn how to narrow it, and we'll go from there, guys. I'll be back when I set up my measurements and show you how to do that with the clamp. So I'm going to measure 2 inches over. Okay, that says 2 inches. I'm going to put the clamp 2 inches, let's just say, and then I'm going to cut, and I'm going to get a perfect cut all the way around because of the clamp. We'll do the same thing on this side with this hose clamp. It's just a regular hose clamp. I cleaned it off a little bit, like it was dirty like this on the bottom. I'm going to do the bottom the same. Hose clamp, remove 4 inches, and I'll show you when I start that process. Let me go get the saw, everything. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I went ahead and put my clamp, my hose clamp around this, and let me get the measuring tape here. So from the center to the outside of the clamp is 2 inches. Let's see if I can get this right on so I can show you. So hard to do, to hold the camera and everything at once. But right there, to the outside of the clamp, 2 inches, and the center of the hole. And that's what I am going to cut out here. Right here. I'm going to cut down across, all the way down. And then I'm going to move this hose clamp down here, measure another 2 inches, cut again. We'll eliminate this. Then we'll go, well, not eliminate it because we're gonna use this, but then we'll bring the hose clamp over 2 inches from this way, and we're gonna eliminate a total of 4 inches from the center. So 2 on one side, 2 on the other side. So there'll be a total of 4 inches when it's done in the middle, and this beam will be narrowed 4 inches. This is the saw that I use. It's just a portable bandsaw. It's a Milwaukee portable bandsaw, and uses that blade. This thing works awesome to cut almost anything. So I cannot hold the saw, the camera, everything at once. So I'm gonna make this one cut, and then I'll bring you guys back. So we're back, and this saw is amazing. Okay, look. So I went ahead and cut 4 inches off. I used this hose clamp as a guide. So it's actually 4 inches from the center to the end right here. It's a tiny little bit off, but I'll grind it down over there. None of this is going to be used anyway. I'm eliminating the tension springs or bars or whatever they are. I'm eliminating that center piece right there. The car's going to drop. Next thing, guys, what I want to do is I'm going to try to flatten these just a little bit more. Take all these burrs off. And then clean out in here. And I'm going to try to find a pipe. Probably go to Home Depot tomorrow or something. I know this ain't the right size, but just an example. A pipe that fits snug to go in there. And then kind of, you know what I mean. Like something, if this was a smaller diameter to fit in there, kind of in a way. To fit inside a pipe that fits snug all the way around. And then to join them together. So then when I bring them together, there's kind of a filler pipe inside. And then it'll give me a little something to bite into. And I'm not just trying to weld these two things together. I could put a bead all the way around and weld to the inside of the pipe as well. Just to make it a little bit more beefier in strength. But there it is. That is 4-inch narrow beam. It's still not done. I'm gonna call it a night. Head to Home Depot tomorrow. Try to find that pipe, and we'll come back when this happens. And this will probably be right about now for you guys. So I have to do a little bit of extra cutting, guys. So I brought out my saw. And my stand, and I'm going to show you how this goes. I made a video on when I made this. Let me see if I can get a good video of it. But when I made this stand, so I'm trying to use both hands here. Let me scoot this back so I can get a better video of it. So yeah, that's the stand. Let me set it up and I'll show you guys how it looks assembled. Like I said, I made a video of when I made this. If you guys want to check out how I made this, it's in my videos. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get all the cool stuff that I make. But yeah, let me set it up. I'll show you how it is. Okay, I thought I'd show you guys again how it is, how I made this. This saw uses my portable bandsaw, and all it is a plate. I made this square tubing out of 2 pieces of like angle iron. And then I made these channels right here out of angle iron as well. The saw sits in here. Goes down. I have a piece of electrical tape holding the trigger. I have this plate right here, like a work table where I can cut, and that is holding on. See if I can get down here with that little bracket thing right there that I made. And it has a foot pedal, so when I need to cut straight from the foot pedal, I can control it, you know, slow or fast or whatever. But yeah, guys, that's the way it works. So I'm gonna finish cutting up this so I can finish assembling this beam, and I'll show you when I'm done. And that's what it looks like when it's cut. Cut to this pretty thick piece of pipe. So there's gonna be my inserts that are gonna go inside my beam just to reinforce it a little bit more. And I'll show you guys. Let me get the beam real quick. So we're back. Okay, so as you can see the beam laid out here. I cut my little spacer, whatever you want to call them, but what it's gonna do, what my plan is to insert these in here, throw a small weld, or just connect them and they'll slide in, and then eventually push them in. So let me see if I can do this with the camera. But let's say I put that in and then we butt them up together like this, okay? So when I weld, I'll actually be able to have something to weld to on the inside as well, and it gives it that extra strength right there. But that's the way it's gonna be. I don't know if I'm just gonna slide them in and then weld it, or I might put them in and throw some tacks and then put the other side in, then weld it all the way around. I don't know, something. But yep, that's it. And I did this with my portable bandsaw on my homemade bandsaw stand, and I actually had to cut the pipe open to spread it out, but that's not gonna matter. Like I said, it's just for a little bit of extra, how do you say it, strength. So I'm not just welding this pipe to this pipe on the beam, I'll have something on the inside. So yeah, let me get all this taken care of here. As soon as I weld everything in, then I will come back and show you what's next. So the next step for everybody else that's been following on how to do this would be, if you guys want to put some plugs in like this, well, like that, you're gonna weld them and weld your whole beam together. That's the next step. So when I come back, I should have everything welded up. Here's the beam. I went ahead and made this little jig. It's actually a front horn out of a 67 bug. I screwed it into my workbench on both sides, right there. Remember the little reinforcement tubes I cut out? Well, I slid it in about 1.5 inches in the tube, threw a tack on it. Did the same thing on the bottom, threw a tack on it. Now, I made a little recess right here for the tack, and I'm gonna bring these together all the way, boom, to right here on the top and bottom. Then I'll be able to weld, throw a big weld, and I'll have penetration all the way through to this tube. So I'm not trying to weld just the beam together where it's gonna be weak. I'll have a tube underneath to give me that reinforcement right here to make a nice and strong weld. Then once I get that done, these have been cut out from here on both sides. They've been cut out. This one's tying down right now, but it's been cut out. And then I'll be able to do the measurements from there to there, from there to there, and get the center. And once it's centered, I'll be able to tack these guys down right here and then weld them all the way up, and I can start assembling it back and putting the beam back together, and then we'll get to shortening the tie rods. So let me get this taken care of, and then I'll come back and then we'll talk about this. Here it is. It's not fully welded up, it's just tacked in there. I mean, it was getting kind of tough because my welding helmet wasn't working that great, so it wasn't tinting, auto tinting, so I don't know, I did some adjustments on it and stuff. I have a warranty on it, so I'm probably gonna have to take it back and see what's going on. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the best welder in the first place, but I threw some tacks down Remember I said we brought those two together, the pipes inside. Now I'm just going to pull the beam off the jig and weld all the way around, grind everything down smooth. I went ahead and, you know, tacked these in. I did some welds here because that's when I cut off the brackets. It left some gouges. So I just try to fill them in real quick. Let's see if I can clean some of this slag off. But I tacked these in as well. And they're just, everything's just tacked in, guys. This beam's not even welded all the way around yet. Tacked in. Just one tack here, one tack here. I'll weld all this. I gotta figure out what's going on with my helmet first. I'll weld all this. I'll finish welding all that and grind everything nice and then throw some paint over it. So I guess that's the basic shortening of the beam. I'm gonna try to clean this up and then I'll bring you guys back to it maybe when I have everything nice and welded up and ground down and stuff and get it ready for paint, and then we can start assembling. But that's the concept right there. The way I said I was going to bring these in, and then I measured from here to the center here, and it measured out perfect. I measured from right here to the center of these bolts, and it measured out perfect. And the same thing, we got the same measurements on this side. And also you can see kind of my reference marks. Those weren't dead on, but it was kind of, you know, guessing the measurement. And everything measured up pretty good. Everything centered. Well, as centered as it's going to be. So that's it, guys. Let me get everything together and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, quick little change or tip I want to show you guys that I decided to do. So remember that orange pipe reinforcement I put in here? I went ahead and drilled a couple of holes in here, and I'm gonna fill them up like little plugs. So in case this weld ever breaks or there's a weak point on it or whatever, these little weld plugs might save the day, so I don't go flying off a bridge or something. And I went ahead and did the bottom two. As you can see, the orange pipe showing right in there. And I'm just gonna hit them really good with the hot weld and penetrate all the way through. So just in case, extra reinforcement, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and finish cleaning this up and finish welding everything up, and then I'll show you guys that later. Remember, you guys will have an adjuster here. I'm not. My car is going all the way to the floor. I'm probably gonna put a hydraulic suspension on it, and that's gonna be built off over here somewhere with some cylinders. But yeah, so I'm not gonna have no adjustment. It's going to the floor, to the ground. Let me get all this together, guys, and I'll be back and show you when it's all welded up, all nice, and try to get rid of some nasty welds that I did last night. All right, guys, so here it is, all finished up. The narrowing of the beam, and it is a 4-inch narrow. You can still see the welds a little bit there. I mean, I made sure I threw them on really thick, you know, really thick welds, just to make sure that everything was sealed up right. You know, we got the plug welds right there, and there, and there, and there, and then I went ahead and undercoated the whole thing because I was thinking I'm gonna grind these welds down nice and smooth, and then I was like, no, I'll just leave them and just keep the toughness or the rigidity of it instead of trying to take that weld off. No, I mean, this car is not a show car, It's just gonna be a cruiser, and actually this looks pretty nice. On video, you could see the welds a little bit more, but in person, you cannot. They look covered up very good, even with the undercoating. But that is the 4-inch narrow beam. Next, what I'm going to show you guys is how to narrow the tie rods. So just stay tuned, and we'll get to that soon.